Yeah.
Ever since you began to build your empire, you've had a crutch to lean on. Last night we kicked away that crutch.
Hi, welcome back to the thing where I play Skyrim on the hardest difficulty, and if I die once, I delete the character. Holy fuck. In every video, a viewer can suggest some stupid restriction that I have to subject myself to. And this time, Legendaddy is not allowed to use any NPC summons, but that's not going to stop him from making some progress on the main quest. And if he can expand his collection of Daedric artifacts with the best weapon for legendary difficulty, then so be it. You see, Mehrunes Razor has a 1.98% chance to insta-kill an enemy hit with it. On legendary, the health pool of enemies is so high that anything with the capacity to insta-kill will be a game changer. The only downside is that this quest is like my upbringing. Hard, treacherous, and any mistake, no matter how small, will put you in mortal danger. What's more is that Legendaddy's flame Atronusi was taken away from him, so before he could tackle any of this, he would need to prepare. To this end, Legendaddy traveled to the north of Whiterun in search of alchemy ingredients. It was here that he stumbled across White Watch Tower, which was under attack by bandits. Never missing an opportunity to hone his combat skills, Legendaddy joined the fray, where he accidentally shot a guard in the butt. This made him a wanted man, and the guards attacked back with reckless abandon. Not wanting to die over something so petty, he did some time inside. I guarantee you that that's what happened. A free man once more, Legendaddy returned to his increasingly lucrative side hustle. The experience gained from this got him to level 20, quite significant level, as this unlocks the quest Pieces of the Past. No expense was spared in the preparation for this endeavor. Legendaddy knew it was all about training and nutrition, so after extracting a swimming pool's worth of soup, he made his way to Iverstead, with hopes of being trained by the greybeards. It was here that he met Vestrid again, a girl he had helped way back when in episode 2. He couldn't really explain it, but ever since he had helped her find love, he had developed paternal feelings for this young but lost girl. So when she was mauled to death by a bear a few seconds later, it was quite a bummer. He would be taking her ring with her throughout his adventures, as a memento. It was definitely what she would have wanted, probably.
Can't believe Fastrid's gone. I should have been nicer to her.
Yeah.
Honestly, not off to a great start. Determined to turn it around, Legendaddy marched upwards to 7,000 steps. And when he encountered both a blood dragon and a frost troll, only one thing entered his mind: fuck this. After a long and arduous journey, Legendaddy reached the greybeards. They taught him slurs in the dragon language. All in all, it was not a bad day. Training did not stop here, however. Being deprived of his flamey companion, Legendaddy decided that stealth would be his ally going forward, which the greybeards somewhat involuntarily taught him as well. It took 13 hours of gameplay for Legendaddy to reach the state that every Skyrim character eventually reaches. He had become a stealth archer. On his way down, he made sure to extort Glimhack for money, after which Legendaddy was affronted by cultists that were none too pleased about the return of the Dragonborn. Easily besting the cultists, Legendaddy was prompted to go to Solstheim, but that sounded difficult and boring, so that's a nice problem for future him. In the meantime, he was sent on a secret mission to complete his stealth archer training. His first task: locate Fort Amel.
Yeah, I found it.
He then needed to neutralize all hostile agents. The next step was to find a way inside. Lastly, he needed the bound bow spellbook and get back home alive. He downed an invisibility potion to get past the guards unseen. Possessing an IQ score that is at least higher than the average temperature in Skyrim, Legendaddy knew that interacting with objects interrupts the invisibility effect. Upon acquiring the spellbook, he immediately drank another potion, and the guards were none the wiser to his shenanigans. The Bound Bow is an adept conjuration spell that requires more magicka than Legendaddy currently has. The perk to cut it in half is beyond his reach at the moment, so how do we get past this? If you've guessed manufacturing of narcotics, then you'd be correct. The Bound Bow tends to do more damage than physical bows on Legendary, and each time you cast a spell, you'll get 100 fresh arrows. This eliminates the need for acquiring arrows yourself and lowers your carbon footprint as you won't have to smith any. It may not seem like much, but this is the highest DPS Legendaddy has had thus far, and with that we can take one item off the list. Since Legendaddy found himself in Dawnstar anyway, he thought it high time to get started with pieces of the past. The premise is simple: locate 3 pieces of a dagger from highly dangerous people and the miller. The miller can be paid because he'll do anything for the right price. He nasty. With the hilt in hand, Legendaddy traveled to Falkreath for the second piece, currently owned by a band of bandits. Their leader was a total pushover, and the fight was not even worth mentioning. Upon reflection, Legendaddy realized that the only mistake he had made during this fight was actually being a part of it, and he would spend a considerable amount of time in therapy before attempting it again. In the meantime, he continued with the main quest. His mental recovery was aided by crushing the skulls of those physically inferior to him. His undead adversaries were no match for his bound bow, and through proving his prowess in combat, Legendaddy started to regain some of his confidence. Further down, he came across the first word of the Become Ethereal shout, which turns you into a spooky ghost where you cannot do damage nor be damaged, which is actually great for certain tasks, encounters and proclivities. Making his way into the inner sanctum, Legendaddy did in fact not find the horn of Jurgen Windcaller, but rather a letter. He immediately went back to the greybeards, where they taught him the last word of Unrelenting Force. They then shouted vulgarities at Legendaddy for being able to learn in seconds what took them decades to master. Things were starting to look up, as Unrelenting Force has the capacity to insta-kill anyone if the cliff you're shouting them from is high enough. Yeah. Confident that he could now best his rival, Legendaddy took the fight back to the bandit leader, where he immediately shouted his spine in half. It turned out that he did not have the dagger part on his person, but he did have a stacked wallet. The tables were turned and Legendaddy reigned victorious over his toughest foe yet. This freed the way to the dagger parts, which were trapped with boobies. After obtaining the shards, only one piece remained. Located in the depths of the Reach and guarded by Forsworn and Hargraven alike, Legendaddy knew this was gonna be top. So he was happy when a good Samaritan offered him a piece of enchanted smithing equipment with no strings attached on account of him dying after relinquishing it. Getting closer to the last piece of the puzzle, Legendaddy found himself outclassed before even starting. Nothing deep-rooted anger issues can fix though. Legendaddy's rage was burning so hot that the arrow lodged in his thick skull didn't bother him. When the red mist cleared, he realized that the way to inside was clear, but his troubles only just started, so he got mad again. He was back on top. Now forsworn Briarhearts are a different beast. This is because they're dangerous as f***. They have one weakness. They all carry a Briarheart in their inventory. If you pickpocket this item, they'll instantly die. So I have this neat little trick for that. It does tend to break the game just a tiny bit here and there. At the end of the road, the guards of the dagger pieces proved too much to handle, and Legendaddy had to do a little tactical retreat. This would not be the end of this skirmish though, as he cleared the way to scale the northern wall. He got caught immediately. Replenishing his supplies, Legendaddy decided to abuse his enemy's need for sleep, and he attacked again in the night. By now, he had realized that the Forsworn's main weakness was violently ripping their still beating hearts from their chests. Unfortunately, this was not an option for the Hargraven, but she too fell to the shield bash and vegetable soup combo. And that is how Legendaddy acquired all pieces of Mehrunes Razor.
You have claimed the pieces of my razor. It has been an amusing game to witness. Kill Silas.
Okay.
Legendaddy was now able to use Mehrunes Razor as he saw fit, so he went back to Delphine, not because he wanted to help, but because he wanted to show off the Razor for demo purposes. Not only does the Razor boast adequate base damage, every hit has a small chance to insta-kill a target, which turns challenging encounters into this. And that's it for today. If you want to suggest a restriction for next time, let me know in the comments and I will pick the one that shows the most chaos.